tells you it's 11 o'clock.
Good evening, everyone. This is Jamie Cullum from London here with Jazz Riot on Inter FM. I've actually been on holiday for a little bit. Can you believe it? I feel very rested and ready to play you some great music, so do enjoy.
Inter FM, Jamie Cullum's Jazz Riot.
Good evening, everybody. This is Jamie Cullum. Welcome to another hour of jazz here on BBC Radio 2. I'm back, actually. I've had a few days holiday. I'm back in my home studio. Musicians have to take holiday when everyone else is at work, really, because you tend to work when everyone else is on holiday. So I've enjoyed a few days off, and I'm back here now, and going to bring you tonight's show from the studio here, including an interview I did with the incredible British musician Gwilym Simcock. I've been watching him play and compose since he was in his late teens, and he was extraordinary then, and he's even more extraordinary now. He's going to be telling you about his latest album and his projects and how he came to be who he is today. Gwilym Simcock interview coming up later in the show. I recorded that a few weeks ago back in the Radio 2 studios, filled with great music. Plus music from Gil Evans Orchestra, Torun Eriksson, Don Cherry, but before all that, here's two of the fieriest members of the early bebop era, Fats Navarro and Eddie Lockjaw Davis, playing a very appropriately named track. This is Hollerin' and Screamin'. That would have been recorded in the late 40s, mid to late 40s, I think. Fats Navarro on the trumpet, Eddie Lockjaw Davis on the tenor saxophone. And, Fats Navarro, he died very young in his mid to late 20s. He was a heroin user, and he ended up dying of TB. So it's a bit of a tragic story, but he was definitely considered one of the most important trumpet players of that early era, around the same time as Dizzy Gillespie. He was seen as his peer, pretty much, someone of almost his equal, Dizzy Gillespie's. The track was called Hollerin' and Screamin'. You can get that on on various different albums and compilation albums. I got that off something called Fats Navarro Memorial Volume 2. I'm going to say hi to Michael Keegan. He loved the Polar Bear session I had on the show last month. You know, what I love about doing this show is that, you know, we play a real mixture of stuff. You know, Polar Bear, British jazz band, definitely one of the bands that are more on the outer reaches in the world of jazz. Something very modern, something very unique. And I had so many people write in to say how much they enjoyed it. So just proof that as long as you can go on the musical journey, you can enjoy so many different types of things, maybe that you didn't think you'd like before. Also, Janice Ridley, she says, thank you for playing music for the heart and the spirit. Love the show. Mike is listening in San Francisco while he slaves away on interminable Excel spreadsheets. Goodness me, you've actually got me falling asleep just thinking about it. Well, don't worry, we'll play you loads of great music to keep you awake during those Excel spreadsheets. Let me know what keeps you awake. Let me know what you're enjoying on this show. Email jamie.cullum@bbc.co.uk. I love to know what you're doing while you listen to the show. Maybe you're just listening, maybe you're in your kitchen, maybe you're working, maybe you're in the car. Please let me know where you are and how this music makes you feel. I know this one definitely going to make you dance. I played it about a couple of weeks ago now. It got a great reaction. It's by a band called RODINA. The band is led by a guy called Joe Tatton. He's the producer and he's also the piano player as well. And Aoife Harty is on the vocals. The track is called Mr. Lee. Here's RODINA. They're from Leeds. They're called RODINA. Nice bit of kind of acid jazz throwback for you there. It's from 2012 album called Home. The band is called RODINA and the track was called Mr. Lee.
Inter FM, Jamie Cullum's Jazz Riot.
Now, before we hear from the pianist Gwilym Simcock, I pulled out a track by one of the great arrangers of all time, who was also a great piano player. Although the title of this album, I think, is a pretty dodgy title. Not really sure about this. It was released in 1958. Gil Evans is his name, and the album is called New Bottle, Old Wine. Don't let that put you off at all. The music on it is incredible. Came out on Pacific Jazz Records in 1958. Gil Evans is the arranger and the piano player. Art Blakey's on the drums, and the incredible saxophone solo is from none other than Cannonball Adderley. This is King Porter, Stomp. From the not-so-brilliantly titled album New Bottle, Old Wine, but it is nonetheless an incredible record. Originally written by Jelly Roll Morton, that track, but arranged and morphed into something completely new and exciting by Gil Evans. There on the piano with Art Blakey on the drums, Paul Chambers on the bass, and Cannonball Adderley on the saxophone. Okay, keep listening, because after this, I've got my interview with the British pianist and composer Gwilym Simcock, recorded at the Radio 2 studio, so don't go anywhere.
Inter FM, Jamie Cullum's Jazz Riot.
I'm in the studio with the British musician and composer Gwilym Simcock. I'm going to be telling you more about his work and chatting to him in just a little bit, but first, let's hear one of his tracks. That was the incredible Northern Smiles from Gwilym Simcock's Mercury-nominated album, Good Days at Schloss, Elmau. Now, you probably remember me waxing lyrical about that album when it first came out. I've listened to it so much, it hasn't really left my kind of rotating kind of tray of CDs. It's one I listen to so much. And I've been very lucky to be able to listen to this particular musician in a variety of situations for over 10 years now. I kind of first heard Gwilym's name just mentioned by other musicians when I was in my early 20s, that there was this extraordinary young piano player doing some amazing things that just was blowing everyone away. And just watching him grow and just become this incredible composer and start these amazing bands and being a part of so many amazing projects. It is truly awesome to watch one of the most individual and extraordinary improvisers come out of this country. Mr. Gwilym Simcock is here with me in the studio.
Hello.
Tell me a little bit about that album and that track we just played, Northern Smiles, and also the album Good Days at Schloss Elmau that came out in
2011.
2011. I thought you might know.
Well, it was, for me, it's the first record I'd done solely solo piano, and as a pianist yourself, you know that it's quite a big undertaking to have a whole album just one instrument, and you're very aware of you want to have as wide a range of textures and timbres and musical sounds within just that, having that one instrument to play with. So I was really pleased with how it came out, and obviously it was great to have the album nominated for the Mercury Prize, which, of course, as we know in music, awards and prizes don't make anything better or anything worse, but it's nice to have a recognition of the work that you put in, because I think especially in the jazz world, we're not always sort of represented so well in the more general media, so it's great to just have a little chance to put your head above the water and say, oh, I did something and people seem to respect it, which is kind of one of the main things that you hope for really in this kind of art. You
were essentially a classical music student. You were a classical music prodigy because you were passing all the exams at a very young age, so it was something you took to very easily, music, when you were younger. Is that correct? Is that a good way to put it?
I never really remember making a decision to be a musician. I started off when I was 3 playing the piano, and then took up the French horn as well. I ended up going to music school at Cheltenham up in Manchester from 9 to 18, then to music college here in London.
Also, you have perfect pitch, which I think it would be helpful for you to explain exactly what perfect pitch is.
Well, perfect pitch on a basic level means that you know what every note is. So if you play a note on a piano, or somebody sings a note, or you hear a note on a violin, you know instantly. You have like an innate connection to what that note is, which in jazz music is really useful, because when you're playing jazz in a group, it's like a conversation in that you're listening to the other musicians and you're transcribing it, as we say, so sort of working out what each note is, and then working out your own musical response to their music, and then working out the physical processes involved with you playing your own instrument, whether that's a piano or whatever it is, and then contributing to the music, and you're doing all that in a kind of in a split second. So I think it's really fascinating, the processes involved with improvisation. I mean, it can be an absolute pain sometimes as well, because, you know, if I hear a kettle boil, or I hear a bird sing, or, you know, a door closing, or a train going past, you know exactly what everything is. So actually, if there was an off switch, you know, with evolution, that would be the best thing to do, would just be able to turn it off now and again. But
so when did jazz come into things?
Steve Berry was a great bass player, member of Loose Tubes, currently making a comeback. Amazing educator, Steve, very enthusiastic person, and he was the person who got me into jazz music at school. And he made me a cassette of cassettes. Remember those? He made me a cassette of all these amazing different jazz musicians. But it was the first 4 tracks of that cassette which I used to play over and over and over again. I think there was also some Miles Davis and some Charlie Parker, but that stuff didn't really grab me as much as the first 4 tracks, which were a Keith Jarrett track called Quest Star off My Song, 2 Pat Metheny tracks off the album Travels, and a EGBERTO Gismonti tune called Loro off an album called Samphona. And those 4 tracks just had this amazing beauty and spirit to them, which completely was a really easy bridge from the classical music that I loved.
Well, let's play one of those now. Which one would you like to play as your starting point into this brave new world?
EGBERTO Gismonti.
EGBERTO GISMONTI, this is Laura, as picked by Cullum Simcock. You've got this wonderful duo record. It's called Duo Art Reverie at Schloss Elmau with the bass player Yuri Golubev. The two of you work beautifully together. There's an absence of any kind of jazz cliche in it at all. It's a truly kind of fresh sounding piece of work between a bass player and a piano player. And I wonder how long you guys have been playing together before you managed to put this record together.
We've probably been playing together about 6 or 7 years in various different guises and playing duo for a year or two. But as you say, we've got very similar backgrounds, and we both have perfect pitch, and we both, I think, have the same set of or same ballpark set of influences which lead us to feel music in the same way. And Yuri is an incredible virtuoso. I mean, out of all the people I've played with, there's very few who have mastered the technique of their instrument as well as he has. And that doesn't mean that necessarily he has to play a trillion notes, but it does mean that he's got an amazing innate connection to the instrument. And I think when I go and see any concerts, the thing that really moves me into or draws me into the music is when you can see that a person and their instrument is as one.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like that, and actually there's a way that he plays around what you're playing and through what you're playing that reminds me a little bit of the way Scott LaFaro played with Bill Evans, where he doesn't play the most kind of obvious places, but he's just adding to the harmonics and adding to the rhythmic timing in a way that sounds really fresh. And I'm going to play a track. I'm going to choose a track from Duo Art, if I can, that I really love. It's called Vain Song. So let's hear that right now from Gwilym and Yuri. That's Gwilym, Simcock and Yuri Golubev from the album Duo Art Reverie at Schloss, Elmau. The track was called Vain Song.
Inter FM, Jamie Cullum's Jazz Riot.
Would you pick a track by a jazz artist now that you're excited about? Something that maybe we haven't played on the show before? I'd
love to pick a tune, actually, a bit of musical nepotism from my very good friend Mike Walker, who's an amazing, great guitarist, great songwriter from up in Manchester, and we have a band together called The Impossible Gentlemen. But this track is from his own fantastic album, which I think is really... It's not nearly known as well as it should be, and I urge everyone to go out and get it if you're interested in this area of music, because there's so much beauty and so much heart into the way that Mike approaches music. And I think that the first track off his album, The Madhouse, which is called A Warm Embrace, completely sums up what Mike is about musically, and I, again, strongly urge everyone to go and check it out if you like this one.
Let's hear A Warm Embrace from Mike Walker, as chosen by Gwilym Simcock right now. Jamie Cullum, you're listening to BBC Radio 2. That was a choice of Gwilym Simcock's, the guitarist Mike Walker, playing a track called A Warm Embrace from an album called Madhouse, which I must admit I haven't heard, so I'm going to, just by hearing that track, I'm going to go and hear the rest of it. It sounds amazing. Now, there's another record that you've got coming out this year, which I quickly want to talk about as well. It's called Instrumentation, and it's you with the City of London Symphonia.
I've had this relationship with the City of London Symphonia for the last couple of years now, and as you say, it's a real, as a piano player, it's a real thrill to play on top of an orchestra and to improvise on top of an orchestra. It's a great feeling to have that body of sound beneath you. And I'm really proud of this album. I'm aware that it's a difficult one in a way, maybe for people or maybe people might think it's a difficult one to get into because it's got an orchestra and because some of the music is more through composed. But for me, it really gets to the heart of where musically home is. I think it's the thing that I'm most proud of to this point that I've released on an album, because I put a huge amount of time into it. I wrote all the music, arranged all the music, I produced it, I mixed it, I mastered it, edited it, did the whole thing, obviously with assistance from my friends, myself, and I'm really proud to say that I did that.
Well, Gwilym, it's been amazing to have you come in. Thank you so much. I want to actually finish by playing a track from this latest album, Instrumation. Which one would you like people to hear that you think represents the album really well?
Well, we're going to listen to the third movement of the through-composed orchestral suite, which is called Industrial, which is a bit of a dedication to my dad, who likes all things industrial. Funnily enough, quite a few people who've heard it have said that it's got a strong, there's more than a hint of Earth, Wind and Fire in there and other such bands, because actually when I'm relaxing, the kind of music that I love listening to is Earth, Wind and Fire, Tower of Power, Steely Dan, or some sort of funky 70s Herbie Hancock or Michael Jackson. But I think these things always do filter through to the music that you're writing and making, and I think there's definitely a bit of a hint of that funkiness in this movement.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Gwilym, so much. Let's hear Industrial right now from Instrumation. Thanks, Gwilym.
Thank you very much indeed.
Jamie Cullum. I hope you're enjoying my show, Jazz Riot, on Inter FM. I've got some great tracks coming up for you and some amazing music from Jeff Gilson. So keep it tuned right here.
Jamie Cullum's Jazz Riot. Jamie Cullum's Jazz Riot. Jamie Cullum's Jazz Riot on Inter FM.
Here's a track from Don Cherry. He made this record in 1972 in Sweden. He lived in Sweden for some time, called the Organic Music Society. 1972 it came out. And I guess it's the first record really that you could really class as world music. It's kind of rooted in jazz, but it brings together sounds from all over the world and does it like no one else had done before and set that kind of, that kind of template for many, many other musicians for years later. Here is the incredible Don Cherry song, Hope. That's from an essential album. It's called Organic Music Society. It's also got an incredible album cover as well. Came out in 1972 on Caprice Records. That was Don Cherry. The track was called Hope. That is truly spiritual music for the soul. Okay, coming out the neighbouring Scandinavian country now. This next track is from the Norwegian vocalist Torunn Eriksson. I've been listening to her for many years as well. She has an extraordinary voice. She's up there with the likes of Beatty Bell and Susanna Vollenrod of Susanna and the Magical Orchestra. And actually, she's done an intriguing record. Actually, it's a covers record. It's called Visits, and she doesn't do the obvious covers at all. Some really interesting ones on the record, including ones from Coldplay. But this is also a Prince cover. Great band as well. David Wallenrod on the keyboards, Odin Elyon on the electric bass, Ola Hultgren on the drums, and the whole thing is produced by the exceptional Tobias Froberg. From her album Visits, this is Sign of the Times from Torunn Eriksson.
In France, a skinny man died of a big disease with a little name. By chance his girlfriend came across a needle and soon she did the same. At home there were 17-year-old boys and their idea of fun is being in a gang called the Disciples, high on crack, a toting a machine gun. Time hurricane and he ripped the ceiling off a church and killed everyone inside. You turn on the telly and every other story's telling you somebody died. Sister killed her baby cause she couldn't afford to feed him, yet we're sending people to the moon. In September my cousin tried reefer for the very first time. Now he's doing horse. It's June. It's silly now when a rocket ship explodes and everybody still wants to fly. Some say man ain't happy unless a man truly dies. Oh, times. Speech, Star Wars fly, neighbors just chime it on. But if a night falls and a bomb falls, will anybody see the dawn? Time. Well, it's silly now when a rocket blows and everybody still wants to fly. Some say man ain't happy truly until a man truly dies. Oh, why? Oh, why? With your mind, hurry before it's too late. Let's fall in love, get married, have a baby. We can call him Nate if it's a boy.
That's a great cover of that song. That's Torunn Eriksson. The track is called Sign of the Times. It's out now on Jazzland Records. The album is called Visits. Came out last year, but I've been listening to that tons since. It's a good kitchen record, that. So check it out if you enjoyed the sound of that. Now, the exploration of Jeff Gilson's career and the deep exploration of it continues on Jasmine Records. They actually put out a compilation of some rare and previously unreleased recordings by the French pianists in the last couple of years. They've just re-released another load of brilliant Jeff Gilson stuff for Record Store Day recently. I'm still ploughing through it, actually. This is a musician from France that I knew nothing about until Jazzman Records started putting out his stuff, and I'm so glad they did. And actually, this period I'm about to play for you now, it's from the 1963 period of Jeff Gilson's career. It features him playing a wonderful kind of electronic pump organ. It gives it a curiously kind of French sound, but also something very spiritual as well. It's a great track. It's probably his most known track. It's Jeff Gilson. This is Le Grand Bidou. That's Jeff Gilson from a re-release from Jazzman Records. It's called The Archives of Jeff Gilson. Came out in December in 2013. Stuffed full of rare tracks from the incredible French musician and composer Jeff Gilson. The track was called Le Grand Bidou. And that is all I've got time for this week. Next week, I've got a Maida Vale session with the incomparable Neil Cowley trio. Great friend of the show. They've made an incredible new album, and I'm sure their Maida Vale session is going to be as fiery as ever. Thanks for joining me, everyone. I'm Jamie Cullum, and this has been a Folded Wing production for BBC Radio 2. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This has been Jamie Cullum's Jazz Riot on Inter FM. This is a new version of my show that was originally commissioned by BBC Radio 2. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'll see you next week. Good night.